This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live 100 feet from the Gulf of America. Here are your award-winning social media superstars, the hosts of Beach Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
Thank you all for coming to Wahoo Willie's for breakfast today. We have Karen Woodson on the show. And big hand for Karen. And before we get to Karen, I wanted to make sure that we talked about our friend Fred Weaver for a couple of minutes. And I wanted to, she's going to let me roll with this one. If you had not read the 87-page extortion letter that Fred sent to the town of Fort Myers Beach, please send me an email and I'll happily send it over to you. And the reason that I wanted to bring it up was because for those of you that don't know Fred Weaver, he was the one that sent a letter to Andy Hyatt's wife at her workplace that kind of led to Andy, I think, was part of why Andy didn't renew his contract as the town manager here at Fort Myers Beach, which is a big bummer for Fort Myers Beach because everybody loves Andy. Wow, that should be a show. Everybody loves Andy. And so the reason I want to bring it up is because my name is mentioned nearly 100 times. I didn't even tell you this in the extortion letter that he sent to the town of Fort Myers Beach. And just...
Okay. Do we really?
Yeah.
They don't want to hear.
No, I think there's some people that want to hear. Do you guys want to hear about Fred?
No.
Thank you very much. Just for 5 minutes, dear.
Thanks, ladies.
Just thank you for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
So here's the funniest part about the whole thing. It's not funny at all. He sent an extortion letter to the town. I think he's asking for like $2 million. He wants the town to pay him it's a crazy amount. It's either $2 million or $1.5 million. And about $600,000 of it is for pain and suffering that he's gone through. Like, he sent the letter to Andy's wife.
If he's getting $650 for
his
here it
comes.
And
this is going to be a shot at me.
I'm getting $2 billion for the years of pain and suffering I've been through. Where do I send my demand letter to you?
Send it to Andy Hyatt, town of Fort Myers Beach trailer.
No, I got to send it to you. Andy has caused me no pain and suffering.
So here's the logic of this person. He sent the letter to Andy's wife at her workplace, which is a college somewhere, not anywhere near here. And obviously she has nothing to do with the town of Fort Myers Beach. And I got a copy of the letter, not from Andy. I got a copy of the letter from somebody in which I'll never reveal who I got it from. And I posted the letter in full on Facebook. So now his claim is that Andy and I conspired together to cyberbully him. And he deserves $600,000 in pain and suffering money from the letter that he wrote and sent to Andy's wife that I posted in full. Because obviously the people on Fort Myers Beach went went crazy over the fact that he was doing something as crazy as that. And there's other stuff in there he's asked for. But please, I encourage you all to read it and think what you might about that. And so I didn't get the letter from Andy. I got it from somebody else. And I sent a letter to the town attorney this morning. That's clearly stated that I did not get the letter from Andy. So everything that he says about how Andy and I are conspiring is incorrect. I tried to get Andy on the show, like when he was on 3 weeks ago, to talk about that, and he wouldn't even bite on that. I never got the letter. We've never had a conversation about Freddie Weaver on this show or privately or texting or in any way. And he never got down to my level. He never lowered himself to my level to want to talk about something as crazy as that. So if you want a copy of the whole thing, you're welcome to read it. It's definitely an interesting read. And when I couldn't sleep the other night, I read the entire 87 pages. It's completely off the wall.
Okay.
So anyway.
Have you moved on?
Yes. Here we go. Here comes the good stuff.
No. I want to do a PSA, a public service announcement here that bridge over there, when you come over that bridge and you're on a bike, whether you're like pedaling it or God forbid, you're on an electric bike, that you're supposed to walk it over. Like there's a sign that says, walk your bike over. So when someone yells at you and you don't like that, maybe you should get off your bike.
Okay.
And follow the rules.
You don't really want to. No, you need
That's
to.
Nope,
there is some back.
Nope.
There is
That's
some.
my story. Letting it go.
She watched a video last night of somebody riding their e-bike over the bridge, and the people that were walking were getting annoyed because this lady, who we all know runs around in a van that has golf carts and the whole thing.
Why can't I just tell my story?
Well, she was videotaping her ride over the bridge, and she was yelling at the people, back at the people, and it was the town council's fault. She said, "I'm trying to get the town council right to let me ride in the other side." I mean, by the way, if you come from
just walk your bike over.
If you come from
the people walking are trying to walk.
I know it was rude. If you come from Beach Pottery, the road really does look nice. I mean, the state has done a nice job paving it from the Hurricane. Is that what it's called? The Hurricane Bridge to the bridge, and the only thing left there, Hurricane Pass, is that second lane when they open that up. They really have done a nice job.
And I think you can ride your electric bike. I would ride in the road. I would just ride in the road because it's not gonna. You're not gonna hold up traffic that much.
Especially when
let the people walk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for.
Well, this is so much fun for you to come on in here and lighten the mood here.
Yes, for Karen Woodson, Council Member Karen Woodson. We always appreciate Karen coming on. Appreciate everybody coming on. How are you doing, Marie?
Great.
Of course, we want to get a. Can you help with the camera? I got too much. Can you tell us how Mark is doing? Your husband Mark was having some issues with his leg. How's he doing?
He is doing fantastic. He is through all the infection. He's going to outpatient physical therapy. He's getting his strength back. You know, they tell him not to do something, so that's the reason that he goes and does it. So he's riding his bike. People are commenting on that. They're seeing him on his bike and doing that whole thing. So no, he's doing.
Yeah, and I saw him like he's walking unaided and just getting right around.
Yeah. Well, he was never going to go in public with any kind of aid.
Yeah,
that's not his deal.
Now, because he hadn't had a chance to work out and exercise, he lost some weight. Is he getting his weight back on too?
Little bit, yeah. He's, it's not fair. I mean, oh my God, the amount of food he eats.
Yeah.
But he is like super tall.
Like he is. He's 6'6". But I mean, he lost almost 40 pounds, but I don't think he's probably even put on 10.
Wow.
But he eats constantly. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
It really is annoying.
So before we start, like we do every week, we send the topics to our guests on Sunday in advance, so that if there's anything that's we're not trying to give everything away in advance, but if there's anything that needs to be prepared for or asked of the town manager, because the council doesn't run the town runs. The town manager runs the town. We send them in advance. But before we get to the list of topics, is there anything you want to say about what we were talked about before you sat down?
I know nothing of this, so I apologize.
You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but I did want to throw it out there if you did.
And I have not read it. I was just recently sent a copy of it, but I understand that every name in the book from 2013 is in there. It is with LCSO. I will say that it's blatant extortion. So I hope that somebody can curb him because it's out of place. It's totally out of place.
When you say it's with LCSO, do you mean that what he sent? Because he in what he wrote, he also says there's some filings that he made with the sheriff's department alleging what he alleged. And I had asked the sheriff's department, and they looked at me like I had three eyes. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So what you're saying is.
Well, I know Andy had submitted some things with the whole thing with his wife, and he just followed up with that with this latest.
Yeah, to me, that would be like if somebody got that out of the blue, you would call the FBI and say somebody's trying to extort money from me for no reason. Like there's never been any kind of filing or proof in any way that either Andy or the town did. Now part of it is he's upset with the permitting process, but that's not criminal. Even if you disagree with the permitting process, it's not a crime.
Here's the real crux of it is he's upset with the contractor that the condo hired. That has nothing to do with the town. And they also have their own, and they're allowed to do this. They have their own inspections. so they can hire an outside inspection firm to do inspections. Well, he doesn't agree with any of it. But he needs to take that up with his condo board
Yes.
and the construction people, not with the town. The town has nothing to do with who they hired to do the work. Now,
Yep.
whether he does good work or bad work, I have no idea. But that's up to the condo.
Yeah. The other thing that I forgot to mention before, that he mentioned in his manifesto was that he said to me that this is off the record. You have to promise that this is off the record, which first of all, I would never did that with him. And second of all, it's not, if somebody said to me, this is off the record and I published it, it's not a crime. I mean, you lose trust with that person for sure, and they'll never tell you anything again. But it's not a crime. You can't say to me, I told you it was off the record. You broke the law by publishing it. The whole thing was goofy from the beginning. And to think that he's going to get a penny from the town is just absurd. The town didn't do anything wrong. So.
Well, and I feel bad for the other people in that condo that evidently they have to put up with him too. And so that's tough.
Right.
That's
yeah.
really tough. And he's annihilating their contractor. The contractor doesn't want to deal with him either. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you have an HOA and the people that own fighting each other, because really then you're just paying a lawyer out of everybody's own pocket. You're all losing money that way.
Right.
So
And everybody just wants to rebuild.
Yep.
So move on, just get it rebuilt, and all it is. Yeah, it's hard.
So
Well-
last few weeks, the town has had.
Let me just,
Okay,
can
go ahead,
I
yeah.
ask a question? I mean, I'll segue off your obsession with that person.
We're going to do a
who
Freddie
shall
Weaver
remain-
pay-per-view later on tonight behind a
No,
paywall.
We're not doing
I'm going to
any
read the
kind of
entire
anything.
manifesto.
No, can you hand me that thing?
Yes.
No, but
Go ahead.
the only thing I will say is he's been involved in other similar situations. So,
Correct.
in the last couple of weeks, we're going to segue into some fun stuff. There's
Okay,
been some
good.
great parades. We had the
Yes.
Shrimp Festival
Yep.
parade, and then we had the St. Patrick's Day parade. Both fantastic. What did you think? What were some of your highlights? Go.
Well, I just think it brought so much energy back to the town. It was so fun to see the shrimp parade. I was in the shrimp parade. I was
Yeah.
a shrimp taco.
I remember you walking by. I was like, I did a double take.
It was fun. We had it was hot. Holy
Yeah.
cow. How Dan does all those costumes all the time when you're
Yeah.
in those parades and he's like full covered in some crazy outfit. They're hot.
Yeah.
But no, I just think it brought so much energy back. We had people in town for the St. Patty's Day parade. So we weren't in the St. Patty's Day, but we watched it all, and we kind of sat behind the judges table as they did that whole thing. And we never got to the women's club afterwards, but I heard that it was just
Oh my gosh. They
amazing.
did a great
Everybody
job.
did a great job with that. So now I'm looking forward to 4th of July parade, because that's my really fun parade. So nothing's been out about that yet, but that will be another parade
Yeah.
for sure. I'm hoping there will be fireworks. We're having a little budget issue with the fireworks, but hopefully
Well,
it's 4th of July. We got to have fireworks. Yeah.
I'm gonna, and hopefully it won't be foggy either on the 4th of July. I mean, that was just
That was
the worst thing that could happen.
on New Year's Eve. And what was crazy about it is it actually cleared up
briefly.
from like 9 to 11.
Mhm.
And everybody thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. So people started coming over and
Yep.
everything. And
Thank you.
we sat on our deck, and all you saw was this
Like,
glow.
you saw
Yeah.
the clouds you saw the clouds light up a
Yeah,
little
it
bit.
was like the glow every once in a while. You heard the noise,
Yeah.
but it was just the glow.
We were
So it
watching
was
the
bad.
Margaritaville camera from home in Gateway, and I was like, "Oh man, we should go down there because you could start to see the
You could
beach."
see,
Yeah,
it opened up like seriously from 9 to 11, and then it just came
It was
back in.
it was weird how that
Yeah,
came
it
in
was.
like that.
I've never seen fog
Yeah,
like that.
mm-mm.
We
So-
could not even see. We were sitting on our deck, and our boat is maybe 20 feet out there. Couldn't even see the boat.
Yeah. So, what is the deal with the fireworks with the budget? I mean, is it that there's no money in the budget right yet, or you have to figure out how to
Yeah,
move
we
it
gotta
around?
we gotta figure out how to move things around, I think, and it's in the past, we've had people that have given donations for it. The town is not going to ask for donations. It can't ask for donations necessarily, but they're expensive. And they're expensive because not only do we have to do the fireworks, not only do we want to do the fireworks, but you have to do a barge because we don't have the pier. So the barge alone is like 40 grand just to have the barge.
That's the big issue. I wonder
That's
if there's
the big issue.
And then work out a plan B for if anything happens.
So here's what happened with the plan B for New Year's. So the barge company, once it's loaded with all those fireworks on it, I mean, they need 48 hours for you to cancel or reschedule. Well, 48 hours before, how are you supposed to know that this fog is just, I mean, it's supposed to burn off. It's supposed to have all this other stuff. But once that barge is loaded, then you can't change it. I mean, you just go through and you hope for the best. But so I don't know. We're looking at that.
But if it was rain, at least you'd know, you would have some.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, who
But the fog was weird. Yeah.
We don't get fog like that. I mean,
it seemed like it was one night after another back then.
Yeah,
We had
it seemed like there was a couple of weeks
a wave
where
of it.
there
there
was
was just
odd,
tons of fog, and
yeah.
it's never been like that. But anyway,
So Karen, you were the first one to bring it up during a town council meeting, and that's the RV situation where people are still living in their RVs trying to rebuild. And what are you thinking about that? What do you want to see done?
So we gave the deadline of September of 2025. And reality is we're not trying to be, ridiculous about it or anything else. We're saying if you are in permitting, if you are getting your designs together, if you're in the process of rebuilding, that's what you need to do. It's the people who are not in process at all, who maybe aren't even living in that RV, but they've rented it out to someone else. They've rented their property out. They have no intention of rebuilding at this point. That's what we need to stop. We need to move forward. And I have gotten so many emails and phone calls and let's get going here. Let's get this place looking nice again. Let's clean it up. And that's the other thing, even having an RV, but even having, these lots that nothing has been done to it. Nothing's been cleaned up. Cesspools for pools, and bringing all the bugs and rodents. I mean, it's got to stop. There's got to be a deadline of something.
So the clarification on that for anybody that might have gotten their feelings hurt was that if you live in an RV and you're going through the process, if you're in permitting or something, you're okay. You can finish out whatever term it takes to get the rebuild started or to get you back in your house. Have you heard anything about Senate Bill 250 being extended? So that would totally nullify anything that the town's doing.
And we have not heard anything. The attorney was talking with our lobbyist and seeing if there's any, and our people have been in DC. They were in Tallahassee last week. There has not been a mention of anything to date of extending Senate Bill 250.
I sent a text to Senator Martin and Adam Botan, and they totally ignored me. They were all hanging. Well, they do that all the time, unless they need something on the beach. But they were all at the Byron Donalds kickoff, all the muckety mucks.
Byron, see what he says about
there.
it.
I have a cell phone number, but I've never used it. But
no, but it's not meant to hurt anyone. We just want the rebuild to move forward, and we want the cleanup to move forward. And if the lot is for sale, then that's a whole different story too. Then there won't be an RV.
There shouldn't be
on. There shouldn't be an RV on there by September of 2025.
Do you think there's a big number of people that are just, and I use this word, the town council. Nobody on the town council ever said this word. I use the word squatter because that's what I think of people.
That was a bad
You got in
word.
trouble on that one. I saw that.
But I did. Even Tom Coleman said something to me. He goes, did you really have to use it? Well, I think if they're not doing anything, they are. To me, they're squatting on property.
No, but if they have a property and they're renting it out to somebody else, that's not squatting. That's just taking.
Right. All right.
Advantage
Maybe it was a bad word.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So do you think
they're not building on it? Is what the thing
Right.
is. They're not in process to rebuild or to make that something residential or anything.
Now,
So-
if it was a rental before and they're in the process of rebuilding it for a rental again, but they still have to be in the process of rebuilding, or does it have to be the owner that's living on the property?
No, we said that, I mean, people have been renting out the property and we do know that.
That was
Okay.
a no-no from the beginning.
Yeah, but we know that it's happening, okay? However, if you are the owner and you are not rebuilding or in the process of rebuilding, you need to move the RV off.
So how does the town figure out who they are? Like, can the town just go up? Can Andy just go up, knock on the door and say, hey,
No.
do you live here? Or where's your ID? Or
No, I
what's
think
the-
it's going to get down. I mean, quite honestly, we'll be able to tell by address and permitting who's all
Right.
in the permitting
Okay.
stage.
Right.
So that's the first line of elimination. Well, these people they're going through the process. They've done the right things. So, that's the process of elimination there. Then you're going to end up with a handful. Who knows what that is? 2%. I don't know what that number is, that we're really going to have to be serious about who is on that property. What are you doing? What are your next steps? What are your thought process? And that has to go through the owner.
Gotcha. So, by the way, if anyone has any questions in the audience or on Facebook, please pop them up there for Karen. The other thing to bring up is that obviously the town manager is leaving.
Right.
Sounds like
You
April
stole my
30th is a
question.
hard date for him to leave, that he wants to be out of Freddie Weaver territory and move on to something else. And so I don't think that you were particularly happy with the first round of resumes. Has it gotten better?
I have not sat down with Talissa. I'm doing that on Tuesday to see this next round. I was not happy with the one guy.
Well, and let's let
Wait.
everybody-
She was
no,
just-
no.
okay.
Let me just say that your opinion on this is important because your background is in HR. For
Yes.
people that don't know
Yes.
or don't remember. So,
Yeah.
so
So
you're looking with, not that anyone else can't make a decision. I'm just saying that you have that
John King
added-
can't even read. So who's reading the, Chris is reading the resumes to him.
So go ahead with your keen eye.
yeah. So I mean, what I'm looking for certain things. I'm looking for what I call the runway. I'm looking for someone who's willing to stay around for 8 to 10 years, get us through this whole process. I'm looking for longevity in other positions, someone who changes jobs at that level every 1 to 3 years is not what we're looking for. It's interesting, and everybody says, well, do you check references and everything? I don't give a whole lot of merit to references. I mean, who's going to give a name of a guy who, a bad reference? I mean, you have to do it yourself. And I think our HR director and Dr. Kohler have done great work in going behind the scenes, getting on social media, seeing what people post, what they do, what their actions are. They have Googled people and found incredible backgrounds, not good at all.
Really?
Oh yeah. So
Do tell.
Yeah. Where do I find those?
yeah, the one person that I thought on paper looked the best of what we had, it turned out that, oh my gosh, we would have been in such deep water.
Just
if we
because
would've-
of social media, doing the check on social media.
no,
huh?
it's background checking,
I see.
Google and
Gotcha.
Google searches, and there's a lot to find. And if we can find it, everybody
yeah, for sure,
can find
for
it.
sure.
So all you got to do is Google the name and Google whatever it is. And yeah. So I have not seen, so then we decided to extend the actual time to bring candidates in. But we also, the recruiter in me said, okay, who do we know at Florida League of Cities that might have referrals for us? What about Dave Horner at Fort Myers? What kind of referrals? So let's go look at our network of people and actually recruit for this and not just rely on applications coming in. If we get names, let's call them. Let's see what they have. Let's see what their story is now. They may not be looking for a job, but maybe we entice them.
Dave
So
Horner
that's-
is the Lee County manager.
He's the Lee County city manager,
Yeah.
right?
Are you looking just kind of in the Florida area? Or are you looking nationwide or?
Ideally, you'd love to have the Florida because of state laws and all this kind of stuff and have that background. Ideally in some kind of beach community or something like that. And not so much someone who's gone through loss, but what did they do with it after the loss? Yeah, anybody can go through and they can now have a plan. We have a plan for when something else happens and what we're going to do with it. But what happened after that catastrophe happened and what did this person do with it? You know, so it goes beyond just like, oh my gosh, we have to have a disaster recovery plan. Well, we have a disaster recovery plan now. We don't need someone to make a disaster recovery plan. We need someone who can implement it and see it and go and be ahead of it. And those are hard things to see on paper.
Are you worried that being that Andy only has 30 days left, that you might not hire somebody? And it's really going to be tough in 30 days. What do you do then?
What happens then? Yeah.
Well, I've already brought up to him, you know, we have to have a plan B. You know, maybe it's by every extension by 30 days or something.
With him, you mean?
With him. He has not said no to that. I told him I could put together something really quickly, and he said, yeah, I know you could.
Yeah, but what if he should say yes or no, like soon, like tomorrow? Because what if he says no, then you guys, what do you do? Do you call Keith?
No, we're meeting on Tuesday.
Okay.
And at just my normally scheduled meeting, I meet with him and Talissa and Dr. Kohler, Frankie, every Tuesday morning. So this is definitely going to be
in your opinion. Is there anyone on staff that could bridge the gap between? Nobody on staff. Nobody's ready. What about Keith and how that the interim?
Well, okay, Keith just bought his boat.
I saw him on a surfboard.
Around or
was
doing
he surfing?
His
He was surfing
last. That was last year for his birthday. He was surfing.
Yeah, he's occupied.
Yeah, but Chris Howley was another one. I said, call Chris.
Yeah.
You know, let's get Chris to get some referrals going. Let him. He's up at Tallahassee and he's talking to everyone. So let's get referrals from him. So, I can't speak for Andy, but I honestly believe he would never leave us in a lurch. He's going to work with us. He's been great about it. He's a hard shoes to fill. I mean, really hard. He's the best town manager, in my opinion, we've had in I don't know how long.
Yeah,
and
I totally agree with that. But also, if I was Andy and this jerk off with the with the extortion letter, I would be like, hey, I don't need this. My family doesn't need this.
Yep.
I'm going back home. You guys are cuckoo down there.
It makes it even more difficult for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
without a doubt.
Do you believe, and I asked the mayor this last week, do you believe that 100% of the staff, as it is right now, should stay put under a new manager?
I mean, I hope the people that Andy brought in are willing to stick it out and stay and see what the future brings. I really do, because I think Andy has brought in great people, really good people. And I hope that they do. I hope that they don't get cold feet. I hope they give the next person a chance. I think there's still areas that we're still getting up to speed. You know, we need more people, I think, still in permitting. These people are not a dime a dozen. I mean, we are constantly looking for people in code enforcement, in permitting, in floodplain management, all of these technical, integral kind of positions. And I don't think we're there yet on those. I think we do need more people. And I don't think that maybe, you know, we went through a whole process. People either liked the new management and stayed, or they didn't like the new management and they either left on their own or they were asked to leave. So we've gone through that first and second iteration of that. But I still think there's people that are still going by the old rules and whatever those rules were, what in their mind, what they were, and they haven't come to the new side yet. Right. So,
well, and you have the staff now that's been working with Andy for this long,
right? Kind
of under that kind of culture.
Exactly.
You hope that everyone likes. You hope that the next person coming in,
they have to have
that same
Yeah.
mindset and cultural,
Yeah.
because flipping the switch on that is not going to work.
No, that's why, you
you
talk
can't have a
about,
micromanager.
no, God, no. And
Like the
and you
last
talk
guy.
about fit, I mean, we always use the word, is it a good fit? Is it the
Oh,
right
I thought that was
cultural
going to
fit?
be an acronym. And you were
No,
gonna-
no. It is a fit. Do they fit with our company now? Do they fit with
But
the
if we're being
environment?
honest, when a new manager comes in, there is turnover.
There is always turnover, but I'm hoping that the people that Andy brought in who have just been excellent, that they'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
They'll give it a chance.
So I know Greg's watching, and him and I have
Oh,
had
here
an
we go.
argument about this, because I don't agree with him on this, but he says that he believes this is true. Do you think people are still afraid to come forward and voice their opinion or opposition or things because they fear that there's going to be some kind of retaliation from this town?
I don't think that's true at all. I think that, and actually I've heard a lot more positivity coming across. I've had a lot more conversations of people that have said, we need to get going. We need to get moving. I'm really, all these distractions with, this law, it's not really a lawsuit, writ of certiorari, that type of thing. It's a distraction. And I think people are ready to say, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's get going on our rebuild. Let's see what we can do. Environment. I'm getting a lot more positive than I am negative.
And are you getting, because originally when all of this was voted on, you really had got some backlash.
Oh yeah.
Has that
That's
completely gone away, or?
You still have about the same 5 or 10 people that are always making the negative comments. But I think for the most part, it's calmed down.
Okay.
Now we're coming up for new votes, so let's see what happens.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask about that is when you sit with Nancy or Becky and you say to them, should we be worried about this? What do they say?
They say that, and we had this conversation even during the meeting. Have we covered all of our bases? Have we dotted all of our I's, crossed all of our T's? They were totally comfortable in the fact that we had. With a writ of certiorari, it's not a lawsuit. It's not with a jury or anything like that. It's with a judge. So it's how the judge reacts to everything that all the information that's been given to them from both sides, and how the judge makes the decision.
For anyone that doesn't know, we're talking about the Seagate proposal, which is at the Red Coconut property. And so
far you're the only person that's pronounced it that way.
Yeah.
So we'll have to, we're going to take bets on that, because we've heard everything from everyone on that.
That's the way I always pronounce it.
Yeah.
Writ of
I mean,
certiorari,
it sounds good.
just to let Greg in on this, he's about the people fearing retaliation. He says if you agree or not is irrelevant. It's the truth. So, I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that in the previous administration, we would all agree that's the way it was. And maybe there are some people, my opinion on that is, and not that it matters, my opinion is useless because we live in Gateway, as everyone reminds us, is that I think people that are
if we forget where we live. Right?
I think that some people that are opposed
right.
that are opposed to Seagate might be afraid to come forward for whatever reason. Not that I don't think that anything has happened to them, but I think
they've been very vocal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they've been
for
vocal. They've given their opinions, and
Yeah.
and
Well,
I'm not going to talk about
the
details
people in
because
favor of it. Have the people in favor of it been able to be vocal? I think that was what we were talking about. Is
No,
are
they totally didn't.
They don't want to deal with.
They're vocal in different ways.
Yes.
They are not on social media. They are the people that you see at a restaurant or whatever, and they come up and they talk to you. They are not throwing daggers. They're not being negative on social media. They may or may not. Well, I will say, so we've got some other votes coming up here soon, and there seems to be, from the emails that I'm getting, I mean, there's a lot of positive response.
You're talking about Moss Marina?
On Moss, on the food trucks. I know that we're going into the second vote, but people are coming out and they're showing their support. And
Boy, the food
We'll see
truck
what
thing is
happens.
very interesting because it really is. It's a great idea. It's a great concept, and the folks that are proposing it are here in front of us. It really is close to a neighborhood, but there's always been a restaurant right in that very area. Maybe it's been enclosed. And I think we all got the tour of how close it is to the fence. And I know they're doing things to try and accommodate it. I don't think they're ever going to get along. So that'll be an interesting vote for sure. That's coming up on the 7th, I believe. The second vote
April
is coming
7th,
up
yeah.
on the 7th. And then
a week from Monday.
yeah. And then the Moss Marina thing, they put out some new pictures of that, which,
Mhm.
I mean, I think it looks fabulous, but what do I know? I mean, it is one road. It is one road here, but it does look a lot better than, no offense to the Freeland family. It does look a lot better than these ugly blue buildings out
And
here.
it was scaled back. I mean,
Yeah, he did come back. Originally, he
there
said
was-
he
there
never,
were changes.
Yeah.
I think it started at 400 and now he's down to 260 or something. But
261 or 262, something like that.
yeah, and Ben did start off by saying this is his only plan, but I've learned over
Well-
time that's never your only plan.
He also brought in a local company
Yes.
to help with the design, the neighborhood company. They have proven that they do great work. They do understand the island. So I think that was smart for them
Yep.
to do it. I can't comment too much, but they have made a lot of changes from
Yeah.
the original thing that they put in, and now they've paid attention to the neighborhood. They've paid attention. They had neighborhood input, conversations and phone calls and that type of thing. They have reached out most recently. Because I live in the neighborhood, they have reached out to individuals about, please give us your feedback. Now they haven't reached out to me because they can't,
Mhm.
but all of my neighbors who are sitting over here too, they have reached out directly to them and just say, what do you think? And here's what we're thinking and what kind of questions you have. So they're really doing their due diligence with it.
And the neighborhood company, Patrick Van Ness, was on the LPA. They're batting 1,000. Every proposal that they
Well,
brought to the
they
town has
seem to
approved because they know
have-
what's going on.
Yeah, and they seem to have the right aesthetic feel
Yep.
for the island. Because when you put up about the salty crab, boy, people were like,
They
did
didn't
not
like
like
it,
that.
which
That
I was
the-
surprised by. I mean, what do
Well,
I know? But I thought it
think
looked
was the
decent.
same thing. It was that it didn't have some dorm. It
Right.
didn't have
It didn't
that
have the
beachy
vibe.
vibe.
You-
And
what did you think of the
Everybody
drawing?
wants the salty crab
For sure.
back, me included.
Yes.
I loved that place. But it was just a square box building. It didn't have the beach vibe to it. It didn't have the cuteness and the quaintness, which that's all in the aesthetics. You can get
Right.
that. You got to build a building and then you do the design and the aesthetics of the building.
Yeah,
So that can all be
it
changed.
surprises me that we've seen this scenario before.
Yeah.
That to come out with something too soon, I don't.
It never
you're
helps you.
asking for it.
No, I think
It never helps you.
But I think the problem is
Yeah.
some people, now I don't know the owners of the Salty Crab, but I don't think
either.
some people understand that the minute that you put a drawing into the portal,
Right.
all I do all day is sit in my chair, get fat, and look in the portal for new pictures so I can post them on Facebook because I love reading everybody's opinion on what they think of these different buildings. And I think
Mhm.
they have input. I think people do have input
They
and,
do
and
have
have
input.
made
Mhm.
changes
Yeah.
to the different things. And now the guy put it in there. I don't think he even realized that it was going to, maybe he doesn't care. Maybe that's the building he wants to try and get through. And that's
know-
one person on the beach. I don't know.
And a lot of these, when they do those things, they're just renderings. They're
Right. Right.
preliminary renderings. But that's what sticks in everyone's mind.
Yes.
So
Right.
yes, I would caution people, if you're going in with something like that, make sure you have the aesthetic appealing
Right.
rendering versus that. I don't think there's any question that people want the salty crab back, right? I mean, that place was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yes.
Right? Love it. But it's right now, it's just a square box building that needs some work.
Yeah, and speaking of renderings, I've seen the first renderings of La Ola. I mean, there are pictures of La Ola out there. And because I know Tom and we've been friends for, by the way, their 15th anniversary is coming up in June. I said to Tom, I got your pictures. You okay with me posting them? He's like, don't. Don't. I don't like them. He said, I don't like them.
No,
Take them.
they're just starting.
Yeah.
Do not post the pictures.
So he has a meeting coming up with the designer. They're gonna. He knows.
Is fair, which
Yeah.
is fair.
Yes.
I mean, if you say don't do it, don't do it.
They start with a box with the square footage and what they can do and all the mechanics of it, and then the very last thing is how it actually looks.
Yeah.
And
call Patrick, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're never going to get it wrong with the neighborhood company, and that's not an ad. It's just a fact.
No.
They designed the 7-Elevens. What do they design in the 7-Elevens? Giant murals on the side of the building, and people flip out over that. They love it.
the Neptune. Look at the Neptune.
The Neptune,
at
the
Myerside,
the
and
cottage.
the cottage.
Yep.
I mean, they're batting 1,000. Is that the word?
Yes,
1,000?
yes.
Is that what it is? I'm not a baseball.
Did you guys
person,
see
so
that
I
the
don't-
Yankees the Yankees hit 9 home runs in the game yesterday? 9 home runs in one game. It was like one more home run would
They're
have been a
batting
record.
100.
No,
No,
nobody
wrong,
cares.
wrong.
Nobody cares.
1,000.
So
Okay.
last
Batting a million? No.
last question about Seagate, baseball fan. Have you had a conversation with Matt Price at all? And is he worried that this might delay his plans to start?
Well, I think it's already delayed, but I have not had conversations because of the litigation. It's not appropriate, and I won't. But yeah, I'm sure that he's frustrated. I can only imagine. I mean, they wanted to get going, and we pushed them hard on when they were going to break ground and what was going to happen. And he does have a 5-year time limit. If he does not break ground and ready to go in that 5 years from the time it was approved, then he starts over.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sure he is chomping.
Speaking of time frames, when is the Junkanoo building coming down, Karen?
You just gotta.
I mean, come on. I
Well,
know
I
she's
know-
not. There's no answer to that question.
No, I know that Andy has pushed the attorneys to find out what can the town do? What can the town do within its rights to get that building down
Sooner than September.
sooner than September? So they are doing their due diligence to find that out. And we'll go from there. I mean, I did see a big dumpster there. I don't know what that's going to do, but
Just makes the building look even more attractive. Put a big dumpster out in front of it.
Well, maybe that's an indication of progress, or
Come
maybe
on. You know,
not.
Terry Prasad is going to wait for the very last day and push it and push it, push it. But
and
I don't want to harp
actually
on
would
it.
love
No.
to, I think
Go ahead, Karen.
I
Say it.
shouldn't
You
say
should say it. You should. Nobody's watching.
nobody's watching at all. I think Andy would love to see that down before he actually leaves the island. He's been
Well,
working
that's-
on that for
Yeah.
a year.
Gonna
years.
have to be quick, or maybe he'll have to stay a little longer.
Yeah. For those of you that don't
Actually,
remember,
maybe he just shouldn't leave. Can we just say
Yeah,
that?
right.
Well-
He just shouldn't leave.
He
But-
For those of you that
shouldn't,
don't-
but unfortunately, yeah.
for those of you that don't remember, Dan took the first swing at the old town hall in one of those buildings. I'm sure Andy wouldn't mind taking the first swing at that
I
building.
don't think he's
It
gonna
might
get
only
that
take
happen.
one swing to knock
Yeah.
that thing down. The other thing too is, somebody sent
Oh,
me
here we go.
the
That's-
building across the street from the Pink Shell, the Beehive building. The guy has 4 million followers on Instagram, and
Yeah,
his
Where did you find out all
I
that?
can't tell you. He
Oh
told me
my
not to tell you.
gosh. Yeah,
not
that
you.
was-
He told me not to tell anybody
Yeah.
because he wants to stay out of it, or
Yeah.
she. His thing with 4 million followers is on home improvement. That's what his whole.
I mean,
You
It's
can't
sad.
make this up.
and I'm
No.
not about, go, you should go check him out and blah, blah, blah. But
It's a slick video.
It's an interesting, he's an interesting person, and it's,
And he's in California, right?
Yeah, he's not
not-
around.
he's not
He's
here.
from.
Oh,
I
I
think he's
thought
from
he was from-
Serbia. He came from Serbia, and he's obviously that building. Obviously, that house needs to come down. But
It
he's.
needed to come down before the hurricane.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But
In
he-
my opinion.
But he's got
Okay.
an attorney, and the attorney is fighting the town because he says it might be savable.
Salvageable.
For the bees, maybe. That's about it for the bees.
The suit,
yeah.
suit he
Yeah.
wears in that,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
He reminds me of who's the
Wow.
singer from Miami, the guy with the glasses, the singer, the
Liberace?
Liberace, the Latin singer. Who? Yeah, Pitbull. He
Pitbull.
reminds me
Oh.
of Pitbull in the Pitbull videos with his
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
walking
How
around.
dare you say that with Pitbull?
What? I know who Pitbull is.
I know, but that does Pitbull.
That doesn't fare well for Pitbull.
So the last one that's really an eyesore is the surf club. Why? What is going on with the surf club?
So they do have some enforcement things surrounding them right now, and they are actually working with the town. I mean, they are not going to bring the surf club back. It is up for sale. That property is
But
again.
wasn't that the place that was only open like once a year? Or
Well, that was to keep their liquor license.
Yeah.
It's just like,
But
it's just
why-
like what is the place across
The strip club?
Yeah,
Oh, they opened up once a year?
they in order.
I didn't
for
know you
them-
went there, Karen.
I didn't. I see that it was a tent. It was a tent
know,
on
right?
the outside. So you saw when the tent
so
went
that's
up.
why they.
That was their weekend of keeping their liquor license.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they had to be open at least once a year. So that's what the surf club has been doing.
Are the ladies young there,
For
Karen?
how long have they been doing?
I don't know. I wasn't in there. I was
How
not going
long?
to take the wrath of the cameras
I know,
seeing
right?
me go in and
Right?
out or anything.
Holy
so
crap.
no,
Is that Karen Woodson?
no. I was looking at
Yeah.
the tent
That
from my
place-
car
But
as I
when they
passed.
were, but when they had a building there, I think they were open more than they were open on a regular basis.
Well, they
Yeah.
The
were,
strip
and
club.
then I don't know, there was some kind of family feud or something. I'm not sure exactly what happened when they closed, but then they were open, like
Just
when there
to
were
keep their-
parades.
yeah,
when
yeah.
there were parades and things,
Yeah.
and then they were open. They opened the bar, and it had no food or anything, I don't think, but they opened the bar. But so they are actually working with the town to clean it up, and
Oh,
even
good.
though it's up for sale, clean up the space around and take
Yeah.
away anything that's hazard or
Or
whatever.
knock it down.
Yeah, and then you also asked about fishtail.
Yep.
Well, they also have codes against them, but
But for everyone
they're
that
not helping.
anybody
they're
that
not doing
doesn't know, we're
anything.
talking about the restaurant behind Santini Plaza.
Fishtail
The
Marina.
neighbors down
restaurant,
there
Old
have-
Fishtail.
The neighbors around there have said there have been varmint around the building now coming.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing that I can see that's been done. We just went back there by boat, and I feel bad because all of those condos around there, they're working hard, and they're.
Mhm.
I mean, they are cleaning them up. They've painted them all. They've got all the balconies they're working on now. So, but even that new marina, Walker Marina that came in and bought it, it just looks like they're just selling boats.
yeah.
You know, they're not really doing anything with the marina per se, and I don't know what was all sold off. If it was just the restaurant that was sold off to what's the parent company of Pinchers and
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know.
Oh.
Got a bunch of different restaurants. What is it called? Yeah. Phelan. Yeah.
Phelan Brothers.
Yes.
And I thought when they sold it off, which was a while ago, that it was supposed to be like a deep lagoon, like it's over at Marine Max. Oh, it is back to Pinchers now? Okay.
Yeah.
But they have not cooperated with the town. So I'm not sure where that stands for next steps.
When do you think there's going to be a restaurant open in Santini? Any idea? The people, it was so active on the South End
I
today.
know.
People were out walking and running, and
I know there's I don't know what they're
Is it
waiting
the
for.
pizza place, the Italian place.
I went over
I
there,
thought
and it's
the
hard for me to tell.
I thought the pizza place was opening was going to be the first one to open, that New York pizza,
Yeah.
whatever. But
It didn't look like there was a lot of
But
progress.
Sweet
Yeah.
Licks is open.
Yeah, but I mean,
They have lunch. They have
I
food.
know. But I think
yeah,
people
yeah,
want a place to go
yeah.
have
No,
dinner
I
and
know, I
get
know.
drunk so they can walk home.
right, well, and
Right?
Well,
South,
the liquor store's open there.
yeah, South Beach hasn't. I mean, I think they're working on things, but they haven't given any.
Do you think it's
dates.
just because they don't think there are enough people on the South End, or they're just
Well, I
not sure?
personally, I think that was what they thought before season started, but I think that kind of proved them wrong. That there's a lot of people down there,
Mhm.
and they're like Bay Beach. They're
Yes.
open. They've been in there forever, but I mean, the first place that they can go to is Junkanoo and Fresh Catch. That's the first place that's open all the way from the South End, and we're losing a ton of business to Bonita.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I mean, personally, I love Enzo's. It's like walking into old home week at Fort Myers Beach. If when you walk into Enzo's,
What's
'cause
Enzo's?
Enzo's is down on Bonita Beach Road. After you make the turn at docks and you go, and before you get to 41 is Enzo's
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Italian
is it
restaurant
on the right.
on the right hand
Okay.
side.
'Cause
Great
Coconut
restaurant
Jack's
is
is
on the left.
And okay. And
Yeah,
then a
and
little bit
Coconut
further
Jack's
down,
is first, and then a little bit further
further
down,
down
is
on the right.
Enzo's.
Mhm.
It's kind of closer to sea level,
Yeah.
and that
Yep.
steakhouse that's over there.
Yep.
Yep.
Prime
Nicole,
Steakhouse or something like that.
Nicole is right. Flippers is open, which is right on the other side of the
Flippers,
bridge.
Yep. And
And
Flippers
also
is fantastic.
Barb's.
It's small and it's hard to get into, but you can call ahead and get a table.
Okay. Gotcha.
You can call within an hour.
Make
and get a
sure you
table.
go back
Yeah.
and read some of the comments later on if you have time to kill. If you're bored, totally
Are they
bored.
good or are they
No,
not?
I'm not going to bring a couple of them up, but
All right.
so
Can I ask the last question or you want to move on?
which one?
The last one on the list.
No, I need to ask that because I
Oh my
started the
God.
problem with
All
that.
right.
So I'm watching.
When don't you start the problem?
True.
When will I ever get to ask a question if that is the criteria?
No, so I'm watching the board cab meeting. I think it was or cell cab, and I hear the guy that runs the Mound House, Adam, says that the town took down the plaque that was kind of praising Dan Hughes. I mean, Dan Hughes is like I don't know. He's like the
Whoa.
he's
I
like
don't
the
think
Thomas
the
Jefferson.
town took down the
Oh,
plaque.
well, he does work for the town though.
He works for the town, but the town did not take down the
Oh,
plaque.
I guess
And
physically that would be impossible for the town to do it. But so I'm guessing either Jeff or Adam, something made them decide to take the plaque down. The plaque was from Dan Hughes. Dan Hughes is basically like the Thomas Jefferson of Fort Myers Beach. And maybe that's just in my mind. That was the guy that he was the nicest guy on the planet.
So
he
smart.
served on committees almost until the day he died.
total public servant. To
First
the
mayor,
beach.
I think,
No
not the
ifs,
first
ands, or
mayor, but
buts.
one of the early mayors of the beach.
Yep.
I'm sure he was involved in the when the town was created, and he donated $10,000 for furniture that was put in one of the rooms of the Mound House. And
And a long time ago, when $10,000 was
Yeah.
like that, could maybe be
Right.
like 15 or 20 now.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Quite
and somebody
honestly.
put a plaque up that said Dan Hughes and his wife Ann donated $10,000 for the furniture in this room. They didn't name the room after him, which is where my phone got up my ass on that one. It was just like, you took the plaque down. Who's going to go to the Mound House and say, why is this plaque of Dan Hughes up and this has to come down? I mean, come on, Karen.
I think Adam got a little overzealous. I think he did not make a good decision on that. I believe that he should have at least talked to someone, Andy, Jeff. He didn't talk to Jeff. So he made that decision, and I think it's going to be fixed. I know it's going to be fixed. It may not go back in the exact same spot, but
Fair enough.
but he will. But that's one of those things when you talk about fit. He has all the skills. There's no doubt about it. In his role, his position, he has the skill set for it. But is he the right fit? That would be where my question would come in, because he doesn't listen. Like, I'm on board cab. I'm a liaison to board cab. We need to listen to our people that are volunteers. They're advisory committee people. They want to be involved. That's why they're there. And that voice needs to be heard. But I unfortunately think he made the wrong call in that.
Well, and I think there are people, I'm not saying this is him, but I'm saying that there are people out there who are really skilled at what they do and really know the rules.
Oh, yeah.
And they're
Black and white.
He's black and white.
Black and white.
That's right.
rigidly attach themselves to the rules.
Yep.
And in this situation here, and in many situations, you have to have a little bit of bend the rules,
Right.
but you got to follow the rules, but you also have to, get along with people and give and take and kind of
But
do
the
that
thing
stuff.
with that, and Adam's been here for maybe a year, maybe longer,
And
right?
he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally. He
he's
totally
a
knows what
nice
he's doing.
guy.
Totally
He's
knows
so
about,
smart.
yeah.
Yep.
My point is, like, if you're only here a year, you don't really understand the history of Dan Hughes. That's like,
But I don't
I
think
mean-
that's what I'm saying, though. I think when you have, if you have someone who follows the rules, that other side, that stuff doesn't.
or just
Play
ask
into
somebody, hey, is it okay if I take this plaque down of the guy that I don't know? I was having a back and forth with John King, who I love, of course. And I said, John, if this was a plaque with your name on it, nobody would give a shit if they took it down. But it's Dan freaking Hughes, for crying out loud. I mean, that was the only thing. And it's like, I
The father
know.
of four.
I know you guys weren't part of this, and for those of you that have been watching the show a long time, the
Here
town
he's gonna
council
whine now.
put this plaque with their names on it out at Bayside Park as if they built it. And that's the part about politicians.
Previous
right.
town
Yes, not
council.
yes.
Previous.
And the only thing that survived Hurricane Ian was that effing plaque. And I tried to pry it out of that freaking piece
You
of rock.
did not.
And somebody else grabbed it. I'm sure it's in Roger's house somewhere, and we're putting it proudly somewhere on his wall. But the town taxpayers paid for
I
Bayside
think that
Park.
plaque is in Belize.
Do you notice on the new town hall that it says Fort Myers Beach Town Hall? There's no plaque out there. There's no everybody's
There was
name on
discussions
it.
about a plaque. Is it?
Yeah, and it was like, no,
Okay, good.
no.
No, I think. Well, the state did a lot for that. I think there should be. But my
Yeah, if
opinion means
anything, that
nothing. Some
might- that
recognition of.
Recognition goes to the state.
The
'cause
taxpayers.
That's where the money came from.
And I don't think people realize you guys getting that building saved the taxpayers on this beach an enormous amount of money, because to build a new town, I mean, it never would have been built. You'd been in those trailers until I died.
Well,
in 5
was-
years.
No, they wouldn't have been in those trailers.
Well, number one, we were underinsured for our building that went down. So the insurance money was just a pittance.
Drop in the bucket.
Yeah, drop in the bucket to what it would cost. It was an 18 to $20 million build.
Yeah.
That we were able to buy this property for $7 million, put maybe $1 million into it because we had to finish off things and all that. And that all that money came from the state. I mean, that's not a loan. It was a grant. It was just given.
So essentially, you got it for free.
That's right.
As a
Well,
gift.
all the taxpayers paid for it, but
Yeah, but it
Well, the
wasn't like
taxpayers
paying
gave them a
over
gift.
and
Right,
over and
right.
over again. It was, we took
Right.
what we had and what we were given and we made it work. And we negotiated the price of the building down, and we negotiated the 7-Eleven next to it for the parking, and made it work in what the budget that we had.
when will
So-
you be in the building?
Well, we're waiting on fire. We're waiting on our certificate of, they have to release something with the fire system, blah, 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 on the
Sprinklers?
ceiling, sprinklers, that kind of thing. Because we didn't do anything except paint and carpet in the second and third floor. All of that was there.
Cool.
And the fire, but I think that was a misunderstanding that we redid all that. We didn't. We painted and we did carpeting. So that's going back to the fire department. And as soon as we get that, I mean, we are ready to
Pack up and move.
finish up the electrical, close up the walls. The DS is being delivered, I think, this week and starting to be put together for that. And
And you're
Yeah.
only going to be on, by the way, I did have a
Oh,
little fun
man,
with
here
this.
we
I mean,
go.
I was joking around. I made some purposeful spelling mistakes, but still, some people don't understand. And I put April 1st in there.
No,
and
'cause they
I
really
think you
think you're
commented on
dumb.
it to make sure people knew it was. I was joking that the town's
can't joke
council
about being
meetings are
dumb.
only going to be on Netflix. I mean, it's their town council meetings. I knew from the beginning they were still going to be on YouTube. And these people, like the newspaper, just can never get it right. And I don't
why
mean the
is
news
everything
press.
a conspiracy theory?
I know.
I mean, it's not. We're actually getting a public service station, which is free to us, like just about every other municipality
Yes.
has. We're actually getting into the 21st century with
Thank
our
you.
technology. You'll actually be able to hear things during meetings.
Thank God.
I mean, it's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good.
And
So-
nothing's going away.
Nothing's going away. It's addition to.
Right. And I can understand how some people might have misunderstood, but it was, you just follow up and ask. Like, you just ask somebody. Of course, they're going to be on YouTube. There are certain things you can't do with YouTube. Like, I don't think I've tried YouTube,
Whoa.
and it's not the most user-friendly platform, but it is another platform that some people go on. You can't do a continuous loop of different videos, and that's where the cable channel comes in. You can
Mhm.
see Chad's video, you can see the Harbor Master's video, you
Right.
can see different interviews.
And they put a schedule up, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's some dentist music in the background, which is something I don't think you can do on a YouTube
Elevator
channel.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you going to run for council again in 2 years?
It's a long time away.
I know, but so just
So
nobody's watching.
Depends on how much we can get accomplished.
What do you need to get accomplished in order to make a decision one way or the other?
Well, I also have to see who else is going to be running
Oh, I see.
So-
Why would that factor into your own decision?
because I don't want to take any steps backwards.
Okay. How would we be taking steps backwards? Who would run if
Oh yeah,
to make
right.
that a step
Not
back?
going there.
I know she's not going to answer that.
I think I know.
Not
are we thinking,
going there.
Are we thinking the
you,
same people?
How about you run?
I
Oh,
don't
you
live-
can't. You live in
can't.
Gateway. I forgot.
That's right.
Yeah.
there
Lest
is
you forget.
there is a condo for sale at the Pink Shell, and I did call Bill and I
Well,
said, Bill, hey,
There you go.
is it worth having I mean, it was as an investment, so her mom can be like 19 miles away from us, but I think the condos they rent them out, and it was like a 3 or 4% return.
Well,
I think. So.
an owner can only stay there for what, max 3 months or something?
I think
I
he
don't
said
know,
20. It said 28 days,
Or
and
28 days. That's what it is. Max a month. And then they rent
why?
it.
Why can't you buy? You think it's a Pink Shell rule, not a town rule?
It's a condo timeshare.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
So the owner can only stay in, and then they use it as part of their
I see.
timeshare for the rest
If
of
I
the year.
if I owned something in the Pink Shell building, I'd want to be there every friggin' day,
Right.
like looking out at that.
Listen, we couldn't
Oh.
even afford an RV on
Yeah.
a piece of property that we don't own.
I was
so.
there on, what day was I there? On Thursday, I think. And my grandson was in town, and so we went to the Pink Shell, and oh my gosh, it was just so much fun. That pool for kids, and
Yeah.
they put up the volleyball net, and I mean,
Yeah, they
it
got the
was a
bar
blast.
back open in
Mhm.
that little.
Yep.
What's
And
the name?
now
Bob's
the
Bar.
beach, everything.
Yeah, Bob's Beach Bar.
Bob's Beach
in the
Bar.
back corner there, and yeah, it was really, the food was great. We had lunch there.
And
Yeah.
by the way, the restaurant bar in the back, for those of you that don't know, is open to the public. And I think Bill said that you park for free if you go and eat there. So that's pretty cool if you want to go do something
Mhm.
different, not be in the downtown area one day. The beach looks unbelievable, Karen.
It
I went
does.
to Leonardo
It
Arms
really
today,
does.
and they're
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
they're so happy down there.
Leonardo
Yay.
Arms.
Yeah, they're so happy down there. It's
No.
like you waited for the worst spot to figure out, not you, but the town couldn't finagle the birds and the bees and the turtles and the whole thing, and then the pipes breaking. And the one spot that seemed like it was the most vulnerable to a storm is getting their sand finally before something else happens. But it looks
But
fabulous.
they started at the north, they came down, and
Yep.
they went
Yep.
up from the south. And I mean, there was definitely a process. I think Chad Schutz has just done an incredible job of managing all this. He's
Yep.
just
It's a
got
big
such a good
project.
rapport with people there. And yeah, it was a huge, huge project. Now just to get the berms finalized and planted, and I don't know when that phase comes in, but it needs to happen so that they stay.
Yeah. And Chad, before Andy came in, I was like, I'm not really sure if
I was
Chad's going
gonna
to make
say
it. And
that.
he has become like a superstar. Like his
Yeah.
videos
Yeah.
explaining it, he's like broken out of some kind of shell, like with
Remember
especially
the
the
first
Beach
time-
and Nourishment Project really
No.
put a highlight on him.
Remember the first time he came on our show at Margaritas in their place on 41? I mean, he was so nervous.
Yeah.
I was like, relax.
I think he was
And
nervous
now-
about what he might say if he got
Well,
in trouble.
He was
Yeah.
so micromanaged before, and
Yeah.
that is not Andy's style, and has said that. I mean, he wants people to bring him things. He doesn't want to have to direct everything all the time. He wants people to think, and Chad, he actually took hold of that and did it, and he had so many good ideas, and he just went with it. He's been amazing. Just amazing.
Last question, and then we'll let you go. We know you're a busy person. Would
I'm gonna go
you
boating? That's what
Would
I'm
you
doing today.
rather see the town council do like a rotation of mayor, or you're happy with the way it is now?
I actually believe the mayor should be voted on by the public.
Oh yeah. Well, that
I
needs
mean,
to be
I
a
think
charter
that-
change.
That has to be a charter change.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and
I do.
I-
No one cares what
True.
you say.
True.
but I don't know. There's something about consistency. Like maybe it's a 2-year, because now that we have 4-year terms, and
Mm-hmm.
if we're going to rotate it at all, maybe it should be two. Maybe not every year, but every 2 years or
Mhm.
something like that. But ultimately, I do believe it. The mayor should be voted on, by the people. It should be not just the council voted on, but there's the council and then there's the mayor.
So
Yeah.
you that would be a charter change, and that would be not it would be a strong mayor and a strong town council then at that point, right? Or does it remain the same? Because right now the way the town is set up, it's a weak mayor and a strong town manager.
Well,
I
how
guess that would have to be
vote
worse.
How would that change it?
Because I don't know, it sounds like a full-time job at that point, right? If you're voted, like Kevin Anderson is
It
the
could
full-time
be.
mayor of Fort Myers. He's the mayor.
Right.
He ran for
He
mayor.
ran for mayor.
He's got a 4-year term as
Yeah.
mayor.
I mean,
and-
it would change the dynamics of the town manager and of the individual council members and how
Mhm.
it was. It would, are we ready for that? Probably not right now, not with all of this going on. I mean,
yeah.
we need that strong town manager who is basically the CEO of the town.
I don't know.
And
I
that skill
guess,
set.
but I
that
guess I
skill
look at
set
it the
alone.
other way. Like I look at it like this is a time where it's such in the middle of a rebuild. Now you have a mayor that was elected for 4 years. That's a strong mayor. Maybe you don't have to worry about the town manager rotating around. Or
Again, that's a whole change
Another-
of organizational design
True.
and everything else. But we're in the middle of finding a new town manager under the old. So it's going to stay the same for
Right.
a little bit for sure.
Well, if you want to be on the charter commission, right now there are only 2 applications. They need 5 residents of Fort Myers Beach to be on the charter commission, and they will meet for a year before they decide if there are any changes to the charter. And if there's going to be an elected mayor, it would have to go through that process, and the town council would still have to approve it, and then it would go on a referendum in 2026, I think. So you should apply for, I know the 2 people, Brian Thomas is one and Greg Skasny is the other one, that have so far applied for the charter commission. So they need 3 more people. So think about that.
Yeah. No, we actually need more than 3. It would be really nice to have some choices
Right.
and decide
Right.
who we want and who we don't want. I would also love to see not just residents, but I would love to see business owners who live on the beach to get involved, because I think that's really strong too. I mean, we have a lot of businesses being built back, and I would like to see their input in that as well. So
We always ask the mayor at the end of the interview if there's anything else that we missed that you want to share. Anybody have any questions or anything you want to share?
no, I do think that it has been an amazing
Question over
season
there.
for the businesses. I'm so glad. Easter's late, so we still have about 3 more weeks to go of
Right.
people and traffic and that type of thing. But it's been a tough season. It's been a tough season with traffic. It's been a tough season with all the construction. But like I look, the Whale just had their topping off. And they're shooting for November
Mhm.
to be open. And there's other businesses. I know the Goods is coming in. They're in with the town right now for all of their planning and everything. So hopefully they're going to be in front of the LPA pretty soon. And so we've got momentum going. We've got things happening, and I'm really excited about that.
Do you know anything about Sandy Bottom?
Sandy Bottoms, the last I heard, so Fowler Construction is handling the Whale. So the Millers have now hired Fowler to do Sandy Bottoms. It's not a rebuild, but
Right.
it's just a
Mhm.
Kind of a rehab, a tiki
redo.
bar
yeah,
outside.
rehab and everything. So there's a different crew from Fowler that does that kind of thing. So it's not going to interfere with the progress on the Whale, but I think they have great designs. They know what they're doing, and maybe we can get this turned around. We're hoping that both of them could open by the end of the year, which would
Sweet.
be great.
Next season is going to be awesome
Yep,
because
and
all those
then-
bars are going to be open
Yeah,
in
and
the
then
restaurants.
Station 31.
Yep.
That's
I don't know if you
gonna
guys
be
know
the-
about that, but the guys that own the Millers that owns the Whale and Sandy Bottom bought the Firehouse, and they're going to turn that
The
into
old
kind of like a
It's a pizza sub carry out delivery
Yeah.
kind of thing. And it has a great kitchen. So that'll be their test kitchen for the other restaurants. And yeah,
That'll
it's
be
gonna
awesome.
it's gonna be awesome.
And now that the base of the bridge is open to
Yeah,
get
that's-
off, that's
and the plush
helping.
landscaping that they put in looks
Oh,
fabulous.
let it go. At least it's open.
I know.
It is open, but they're going to have to figure out that landscaping, because have you seen how many people
Yes.
dart across?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's
They said to me when I asked them, they're going to put the bids out in 2026 and they're going to put the landscaping in 2027.
well,
And-
I think in the meantime they need to put up some rails or
Yeah.
something,
Barriers,
guards,
yeah.
barriers,
Just put up something, a little bars, neck height that you can't see. So that when people walk across, it just hits them in the neck and knocks them down.
No, people will go under it, you dingle dork.
So, food truck, yes or no for you?
I can't see
I know. I
that.
just figured I'd try and get it in there at the last minute. Ladies and gentlemen, the big hand for Karen Woodson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, thank
Thanks for coming. You got to read those.
I gotta go to the bathroom
No,
too.
I'm gonna-
All right. Well, where's the music? Oh, okay. There. That can be way down. So Flex Seal secure system. I don't know if you guys saw the show yesterday. We had the gentleman on who Sam, who's a certified floodplain manager, and he was talking about the new product that they have, the Secure System, which you can use. It's a temporary system that you put around your doors and your windows or anywhere that the water could get into your house, and it will keep the water out if you follow the directions appropriately. It can be effective within 2 hours, so you don't need a ton of time to get it up. And when the water goes away, it easily peels off. So it's not like Flex Seal that you put on your gutter that's on forever. This is bright yellow. You put it on. There's a couple of different products, like a paste and then a paint, and then you're good to go. So that'll help keep the water out. He said the average cost of materials to do a home, it says average home, I don't know, 1,500 square foot home, is around $250. So to save yourself $10,000, $15,000 in drywall damage, spend your $250, put it up within 2 hours. But make sure if you're leaving your house that is the last door you seal, because once it's sealed, if you go back in, you've messed the whole thing up. And don't leave your spouse inside. Make sure everybody's out of the house. Now, I'm going to do something different in that scenario, but that's just me. So call Sam Bays and get your information about Secure System, 954-282-5400, extension 170. And Sam was delightful. He was a very nice guy, really smart guy. All right, so let's see. He's given me this, and I'm just going to read it. Parrot Key Bullets. Waterfront dining at Salty Sam's Marina. I mean, it's where it's island time all the time. They have a Sunday brunch from 9 until noon featuring Monster Marys, which are and bottomless mimosas and lobster eggs Benedict. Now that sounds rich, a little too rich for my stomach and probably my wallet, but it sounds super yummy. Twin lobster tails for Sunday dinner and Sunday brunch. And the great Frank Torino performs every Thursday and Saturday night. It's even big print, and I'm still at the end of my arm. There's a car show that happens the first and third Monday of each month through April, and you can check them out at myparrotkey.com.
Wow. Did you ever have to go so bad that when you went to go, you couldn't go? Wow, man. Thank you all for coming to Wahoo Willie's today. Big hand for my wife of 39 years. And we hear Petey calling us at home, so we'll have to go. Thank you to Karen Woodson, and thank you all for coming to Fort Myers Beach. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.